Welcome Aries, it's Dadhichi here from astrology.com.au. It's September 2020 and it's great to have your company. I know I've been away for a month or so, just trying to recover from some family loss, the death of my mother, which I explained in the introduction, so we won't harp on that, but I will take a look at your horoscope now and see exactly what's going on this month. Some big things happening, especially on the second. You see there that full moon taking place in your 12th house. So if you watch the introduction, we saw that this has a very strong flavor of selfless service, perfecting your skills, which is the Mercury Sun in the sign of Virgo, your 6th house of work. And so this month there's a strong focus on that, particularly because later when you see that new moon occurring, let me get my glasses on here, that's going to very strongly, and that's on the 17th, I'm jumping the gun there. Prior to that we see, first off, this conjunction of the moon and Mars around the 6th. Builds up a little bit before that, but this makes you very headstrong, emotionally impulsive, and there's a danger there, especially with Mercury moving into your 7th house of relationships on the 6th. That can indicate, and as the month progresses, this Mercury is going to get closer and closer to the opposition of Mars, and that's a lot of this that can be fueled by that impulsiveness when the moon crosses Mars. Notice here there's some nice aspects, however, around the 9th and 10th, forming that aspect to Mercury again in that sector of relationships. So you're able to get that communication happening without too much emotional backlash. I've got a few other notes here on the 11th. I'm going to need my glasses here. September 11. Ooh, that's the retrogression of your ruling planet. That's the big point I wanted to talk about. This is a very, very important backward or apparent backward movement of your ruler Mars. That has to do with your action. It has to do with yourself. Generally, we say that if the planet is beneficial, it's going to bring some empowerment to you. Also, it has to do with a recognition that maybe your actions haven't exactly been functioning in the way that you want them to. You haven't had the results that you want. So therefore, the retrograde planets, and you can see we still have quite a few of them up here, with Jupiter having just gone direct. That's one less retrograde planet in the map. But the retrogression shows not only you're going back in time to, I guess, reconsider what you've done, but that's a time-wise retrograde motion. This is a space-wide retrograde motion, really coming back into yourself and analysing in the moment how you are acting, what the consequent results of your actions might be. There's the new moon for you folks. That's an important one there on the 17th, again taking place in that 6th house, which is opposite where it started as a full moon on the 2nd. So this is all about perfecting your skills in your work. Now there on the 13th, communication, dealing again with your relationships, and look at those hard aspects. That also happened earlier in the month, which I've just missed, but the connection to Pluto and Saturn there makes life a little bit difficult. Mercury also is going to continue that with Mars. That's what we call a T-square. That's happening around the 21st. You see that Mars-Mercury opposition that I talked about? That's going to be tough. That may not only have to do with your actions, but with your speech. Thinking very, very carefully. You know, once those words leave your mouth, you can't take them back again. And that has a lot to do with the retrogression that we're seeing here, both in your sun sign of Aries and also up here in the 10th house again, which we've talked about quite a bit. Nice to see this Jupiter getting ready to make its forward motion there at that time. On the 24th, the movement of the sun into your 7th house, that's accentuating again your relationships, your public relations push if you're trying to get your message out there. And I have overlooked this Venus in your 5th house, which has a lot to do again with your relationships, but a connection there to creativity, because the 5th house has to do with those sorts of things. Now, the 24th, I missed that Mercury opposite Neptune Neptune also retrograde. That's that idealism which is possibly getting a little bit out of hand. You have to bring that back down into a grounded sort of methodology. Mercury moves into that 8th house of Scorpio there on the 27th, and that is a very strong research orientated sign. It's also got to do with intimacy and talking about those feelings that you have, those feelings that you had earlier in the month, which were, argumentative, coming out as arguments, coming out as dissonance with your partner. That 8th house shows your ability to get down underneath the surface of things and talk clearly, concisely, and honestly about what it is that you want. There's also an element of secrecy there, I might add, Aries, and you've got to be careful that doesn't cloud your judgment and the relationship per se. So it needs to be transparent and open. The big thing, as I said, is this retrograde Mars. You need to really work on the way you act, the way you work, the way you are engaging in your relationships this month. That is a very, very powerful and important transit this month. We have more for you at astrology.com.au. I know this is brief. For those of you that want a little more, we have the monthly horoscopes, and I am doing a weekly horoscope now. I'm sure most of you know that. The daily horoscopes are also there, and there's still quite a bit more information for you on the yearly horoscope. Still another 4 or 5 months to look through there if you'd like to go to astrology.com.au. Don't forget to subscribe here, and I do look forward to any of your comments. If you want to drop me a line, more than happy to respond. See you next month. Take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.